Hi, everyone. It is now Wednesday. It's January 6th, and we've been talking about shapes in math, different kinds of shapes as far as two-dimensional shapes go and three-dimensional shapes. And today I'm going to kind of go over some more about three-dimensional shapes and give you a little bit more detail as to what kinds of things we need to be thinking about. So, if you see on the screen, I have an example of a cube. This is one three-dimensional shape because it has a length, it has a width, and it has a height, how tall it is. So that's why we call it three-dimensional, because it has three different ways of measuring it: the length, width, and height. So this is what a cube. I can rotate my cube around so you can see all of the different sides and faces. Now, one word that we're going to talk about today, you're going to hear me say a lot, is this word right here: attributes. When we talk about different shapes, many of them have different attributes that make them that particular shape. An attribute is kind of like a feature. You know, our features, we have brown hair or blue eyes, or we're tall or we're short. Those are our physical attributes. Well, shapes have attributes as well. And as I rotate this shape around, um, and I'm going to hold up the cube that I have here, because each flat surface that you see that makes this cube a cube is what we call a face. And I'm going to add that to our vocabulary board here. Okay, a face. This cube has 6 faces, and that's one of its attributes. So as I rotate it, you can see here's, again, they're the flat surfaces that bring this cube together. And actually, you can see if I were to make this out of paper and take it apart, it would look like this. And you can see all of the faces here that go together to make it. There are 6 of them. We wouldn't count that middle one twice. So if I count the side ones, I have 1, 2, 3 behind me, 4, and then 5 on top and 6 on the bottom. So it has 6 faces. Another attribute of a cube are what we call edges. And I believe we talked a little bit about this yesterday. An edge is where the faces come together. So if you look at my cube here that I'm holding, an edge, I'm going to run my finger along the edges right here. So we're going to count 4 edges along the top, and I'm going to count 4 edges along the bottom. So that's 8. But then we have more than just the top and the bottom edges. We also have to count the side edges. So 9, 10, 11, and 12. So this cube has 12 edges. If you need to, pause this video and see if you can find and count all 12 edges. And again, if you look here, they are outlined in black to help you. Okay. The third attribute that we're going to talk about today are what we call vertices. And vertices are the points where the edges come together. Now, when I'm talking about several of them, if I'm talking about that word plural in plural form, we say vertices. If I'm just talking about one, then it's called a vertex. So vertices is plural of vertex. And I'm going to see if I can drag, or there's my prism again. I'm going to put a dot in, see if I can change it to red. And I'll put a red dot beside or on each vertex so that you can see it. So right here where the arrow is, where all of those edges come together, there's a vertex. So there's 1, 2, 3 right here, and 4. So there's the top. And then I'm going to do all of the bottom vertices as well. right here where my arrow is would be 5, 6, 7, and this one kind of in the back, you can kind of see through, is 8. So this cube is kind of like, it's like if it would be a see-through glass or something, you could kind of see all the way through to those outer vertices and edges. This cube obviously is not see-through, so it's hard to see the ones that are behind me, but you still have to count them. So that is how we count the different attributes for this cube. Again, the faces are the flat parts, the edges where the faces meet, and the vertices where each edge comes together to a point, where I put those red dots. So those are the attributes of a cube. Now, if I switch my shape, I'm not going to have time to go through all of the different attributes of the shapes today, but let's do one that can be a bit tricky. Let's see if this will pop up here. I'm going to change it to, it's taking a minute. There we go. Okay. This shape is a sphere, and a sphere is like a ball. When you did your Flipgrid video yesterday, you had to talk about different maybe shapes around your home that you could find. And one of the things I found here in the classroom was a recess ball. And that's an example of a sphere. Here's a sphere right here. That rhymes. So a sphere's attributes. Let's think about this for a minute. Okay, well, I'm going to hold up my vocabulary board again. What attributes does a sphere have? Does it have any faces? What do you think? The answer is no, because it doesn't have any flat surfaces. It's all round, all the way around. What about edges? Does it have any edges where faces meet? The answer is no, it does not, because if it doesn't have any faces, it can't really have any edges. And what about vertices? Does it have a vertex or vertices? No, it doesn't, because it has no edges for them to all come together and meet. So kind of a unique attribute for a sphere is it does not have faces, edges, or vertices. It's completely round. Okay. A cylinder is another one. If I can maybe pull that one up on the screen. This will be the last one we showed today. See if I can get it to come up. Oops. And let's talk about the attributes of a cylinder. This is like a can. Some of you found cans yesterday on your Flipgrid. Okay. As I rotate it around, you can kind of see the attributes it has. Does it have any faces? Okay. And the answer is yes, it has 2. It has one on the top and one on the bottom. Those are flat surfaces that come together. But does it have any edges? And this one's kind of tricky. If you said yes, because you're counting right here around the top of the cylinder, you are correct. That edge is circular here. Does it have any vertices? And the answer is no. Even though it has edges, it doesn't have any vertices because those edges are not straight and they don't come to a point to meet at a vertex. So those are some of the different attributes. I want you to remember that word as we are talking about other different shapes later this week.